Hey there, Saints. Pastor Dave here with another weekly devotional for you this Wednesday. I'm going to start with a reading from Sarah Arthur's one-year daily grind. And this starts with a story that she's telling about a time when she was part of a crew that was taking a sailboat, transporting it from one place to another on a voyage that took about 2 weeks. So one foggy night, it was my turn at the wheel. It was a quiet night. There wasn't a boat to be seen on the radar for miles and miles, no lighthouses, not even a shoreline. After a couple hours, it occurred to me I should be seeing the shore by now. In fact, my GPS unit was telling me I was just a few miles from our destination, but nothing was showing up on the radar. So I called the captain, who came up on deck to check things out, took one look at the radar screen and said, "Oh, you should probably turn up the gain." He reached down and turned some knob, and all of a sudden, the screen sprang to life with dots and ripples representing hundreds of solid objects in every direction, including a long, jagged line of shore off our port side. "Yikes," he said calmly, and he went back down below. I sat there with my hands frozen to the wheel. All I could think of was the countless hours I'd sat there with the gain on low, without enough voltage to pick up even the largest vessels, thinking everything was just fine. But turn up the gain, and suddenly the water was alive with dangers on every side. We made it safely to harbor that night, but only after I'd learned an important navigational lesson. There's a spiritual truth in all this. The longer we live the spiritual life, the more fine-tuned our sensitivity to sin becomes. That's because the Holy Spirit is like a sounding device. The more we live in tune with the Spirit, the greater the gain on our spiritual radar, and the more we pick up on the sin in our lives and the lives of others. We suddenly realize just how dangerous our path has been all this time. Our only response is gratitude and a willingness to navigate more carefully from now on. Well, Saints, I wonder if you've ever had that experience of suddenly realizing how dangerous the path you've been on has been, or whatever you were doing, and you know, your stomach just kind of drops and you feel sick, just suddenly realizing how much pain or suffering you narrowly avoided. I remember this time I was very young. I was on a class field trip to a lighthouse, and I remember, we were walking across this bridge to get out to the lighthouse. It was on this rocky outcrop, and there were rails along the bridge. There was rails along all the way up there, and I remember, I must have been 6 or 7 years old. I crawled under the rail and got outside of that safety bar because I think there were some little rocks that I wanted to pick up or explore out there, and I was literally inches away from falling off of this cliff. It was at least 100 feet down to the angry ocean waters below. And I had no concept of what danger I was in. And my dad suddenly saw me and reached over and grabbed me and pulled me back in. And it was probably not till days later, thinking back on that I kind of realized that was a bad idea. I should not have done that, and I just, in the moment, had no fear about being that close to the edge of the cliff. I wonder that, how much our lives are like that, how many experiences we have where we look back and we see, oh wow, that could have gone so much worse. It was just by the grace of God that we got through it safely. And I think that's the kind of experience that Sarah is looking at and recognizing there's a spiritual truth involved. There's a spiritual reality, the danger that we are in terms of the sin and the choices that it drives us to make sometimes. And we don't recognize the danger. It's only by the grace of God that we get through that experience, or we get past that dangerous moment. And as we grow more and more spiritually aware, it's like that radar coming on. It's like that sense or that ability to see what we should have seen before, but to see how close we came to disaster. And in those moments, Maybe we feel sick. Maybe we wish we'd done something differently. Maybe we feel guilty about how much of a mess we almost made. But really, the thing that we should feel is gratitude for God's grace. We should feel thankful for God taking us through that, getting us beyond that. And of course, we should feel a conviction or a sense of desire to be more responsible in the future, to be more aware of the choices we're making, of the dangers we face, of the ways that we can be more safe, more attentive, more responsible. Saints, I wonder, when has that light bulb flicked on for you, and when have you come to a realization of the dangerous path you once walked? How does it make you feel? And what are you going to do next? That's your devotional for this week. Hope it's something worth thinking about. Hope it's helpful for you. And I hope you're doing well, staying healthy, staying safe. I am praying for you. Please keep praying for me. And I'll see you all again soon. Take care, saints.